Previously on Libel the Bible.
A few Israelite leaders questioned the legitimacy of Moses and Aaron.
Moses sets up a challenge that will show who Yahweh has chosen to lead.
Yahweh's response is to open up the earth in order to swallow those who challenge Moses, including their families.
The Israelites, upset by the killing of their leaders, confront Moses and Aaron and blame them for these murders.
Yahweh is upset by this lack of faith and kills about 15,000 Israelites.
Moses then grabs Aaron's rod and watches it bud and sprout.
Yahweh drones on and on about more rules, most of which he's already covered.
And now, episode 37 of Libel the Bible.
I don't know. Are you ready, Scott?
What's up, everybody? This is Scott. Welcome to Libel the Bible.
And this is Rusty. And this is the most comfortable recording session that we have had.
Yeah, so Rusty had like a crappy office chair I gave him. And I was sitting on a stool that fell apart. So he suggested I get like a lounge chair out. So we're kind of like chilling. He went out to his car to get his lounge beach chair. And he's so low to the ground, I can only see his eyes.
This is perfect. Yeah, I can only see the top of Scott's head.
Move those paper towels out of the way. So what were you talking about? Like you go on rides and you make fun of your own kid because he can't ride the ride with you because he's not tall enough?
That's pretty funny, Scott. Yeah, Scott's giving me parenting advice before we go on the air about how to needle my son for not having the correct height requirement for Six Flags.
It just seems like a bad thing to do.
Oh, speaking of him, though, he's very excited, and I'm very excited. In 2 weeks, he will be starting his first season of hockey.
I assume playing hockey.
Well, I signed him up for ice hockey, so he's gonna learn how to play hockey. It's not like a league.
Is that expensive?
So, amazingly, there's a program run by the NHL. This one partners with the Islanders, and it is $575. What is going on over
Nothing,
there?
Man.
There's like a lot of movement, and like, are we
there.
having a conversation or what's happening?
I'm listening to you.
No. I'm part of this show, right? What is happening right now?
There's a bunch of crap over here that's like in the way.
Okay, I mean, I thought there was like some kind of technical issue.
No. But you like that? If there was, I was just working through it and not even skipping a beat.
So, 570.
Some things you don't need to know about. All right,
Well, I mean, when I'm having a conversation,
it was
like,
just
it's giving me anxiety.
Yeah. All right.
Looking at you like, yeah, all right, so you're chill now? The whole point of that lounge chair was for you to chill.
But it's hard to move anything because, like, I'm so... whatever, man. We're good.
All right.
Let's keep it moving.
So, like an assembly line. Let's just roll out this episode, get to the next one. Let's go. Keep it moving. Coming through.
Yeah.
So, hockey is very expensive, but this was $575 for 14 weeks and all equipment included. Like, we literally, like, get all the equipment included.
You have to keep it?
Yes.
Wow.
It's like custom fit. I have to actually measure him tomorrow and put in, like, the order. They mail you the equipment, including a bag for all the gear. It's amazing. $575 every Saturday, 9 a.m. from now until December. At the very least, he's going to learn how to, like, skate.
Yeah.
So this is in Long Island City. They have programs like this all over the place. So this is, like, a really good way to introduce him. You know what I mean? Even in a worst-case scenario, he walks away with equipment, you know, that he can use, like, forever.
And it seems... listen, I don't know the cost of anything because, you know, I'm so, like, cut off from, like, the reality. I would think the equipment alone might cost you that much.
Yes.
If, like, you got, like, good equipment.
I mean...
Like, hockey's got a lot of equipment.
It is. But I'm assuming, like, in the beginning, when you're, like, just learning, you don't need all of it. I'm assuming you would need skates, a stick, like a helmet, and maybe gloves. You might not need like all the other equipment for contact. Like you might not need shoulder pads. But yeah, still, like equipment would have been super expensive. So this is great. So even though it's sponsored by like the
I was just about
Islanders,
to get on you about
fuck
that.
the Islanders, you know.
What a sellout.
Listen, at the end of the day, we all have to live with our hypocrisies.
Hey, listen, as long as you can sleep at night.
The real concern is this, though, Scott. I got to tell you, like, as we've gotten older and we've seen the effects of contact sports on like these athletes, you know, as like brain science has evolved and we understand what happens to them. It used to be just boxers, but now it's like football players, hockey players, like even soccer players, like from heading the ball, like they're finding serious like CTE.
Really?
Yes. I heard about soccer players before I heard about like CTE in football players. Like there were studies like decades ago. Yeah. So my concern is this. Obviously, my concern isn't that a 7-year-old is going to get CTE from playing hockey. My concern is what if my 7-year-old starts to love it and then they advance on to like high school hockey, you know, and high school is where a lot of like CTE cases begin. You know, like that's where the accumulation of plaque on the brain starts, like at that level. They're starting to become like young men. They're fast, they're big, they hit, you know what I mean? And that's where brain injuries begin. So on the one hand, like I'm excited to expose them to like this sport that I love, you know, but on the other hand, it's like how far am I willing to like let him go? You know, because it is a question, really. Like,
And you're going to pull it out from under him if you have to, if you feel you have to.
what do you mean, pull it out?
Like,
from
you
a-
expose him to this, and then he wants to move on.
Oh,
and like,
yeah.
And now you got to deal with it.
No. So it's, you know, I mean, I'm not really.
So you're hoping he fails? He's miserable and he hates it?
No, of course not. But yes,
Yes.
it's complicated. You know, it
Who
really
was the football player? I think his name was Hernandez. He ended up being like an arch criminal, and they found out like he's like his brain was all banged up.
I was going to bring that up. Aaron Hernandez. From
Aaron
the
Hernandez,
Patriots.
right.
He was committing murders.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He was murdering people.
Yeah. He was like living the thug life in the
Yes.
clubs and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He died,
well,
right?
he had a lot of demons. He turned out like he also wound up like being gay apparently, and like his suicide note, like he came out about like his lover or something. There was a really interesting documentary about him on Netflix, maybe like a 2-parter. But he had like there was a lot of stuff going on with Hernandez. Yeah. That was tragic.
Yeah, it was tragic, but still a murderer, so I'm not going to have too much.
Well,
sympathy.
I mean, of course,
So do
when
you
you
think- do you think-
reduce it to that.
Do you think there's something already in you that now, if you get like multiple concussions and whatever, it could make you this monster where other people that would never happen to? You know?
I mean, if you're asking me to speculate wildly, I could certainly do that. But
If you didn't freaking
right.
alienate Mayan Bialik, we could have asked her. But no, but you fucking hate her. She's a
no,
huckster piece
listen,
of
man,
shit.
I don't know. Like, I'm not a neuroscientist. I don't even know if they know themselves yet, you know? So I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. If I had a guess, I would say that CTE turns you into someone that you're not.
Right.
Or at the very least, it severely heightens.
So it can go either way.
It breaks down your inhibitions. So like maybe OJ would not have like committed a double homicide, you know, if he hadn't had CTE. What?
Allegedly.
Oh, yeah, okay, whatever. So maybe he would not have committed it, but, you know, he may have smacked the bitch around. You know what I'm saying?
No.
No, come on. We know what's what. So, again.
By the way, we're going to have to start videoing these sessions.
Why?
Because when I'm asking you, like, a like a CTE question about brain damage and stuff, I'm looking down. Like I said, I only see your eyes and your forehead and your hair. And like, why would I have ever asked somebody in the position you're in anything about like brain damage?
That's true. Well, even if I'm sitting up, like you shouldn't ask me about brain damage because you'll get an answer from someone who is most likely brain damaged.
Yeah. Roger Waters played brain damage in Eclipse, by the way.
Say that again?
Roger Waters, he played brain damage in Eclipse.
Yeah. Oh. That's funny. You should bring that up because I had to do a lot of driving for one reason or another a couple of days ago, and that day I wound up listening to all of The Wall. First, it was The Wall, which I haven't heard from beginning to end in a really long time.
That's a commitment. That's a lot of commitment.
Yeah, it's like 90 minutes, you know? So I listened to all of that. Then I listened to all of Dark Side. Then I listened to all of Animals. And then I started listening to something else. But that day I listened to 3 of the 4 big, like, Floyd 1970s, like, albums. You know, the only one missing was Wish You Were Here.
Did you pull over and, like, look at the album art, like open up the album, just like stare at the funky album art?
No, I didn't do that.
Yeah, don't do that next
time.
time.
Should I have done that?
I don't know.
Where would I have gotten the album art? Like, just pulled it up on my phone because I was driving.
No, you get your vinyl, the whole sleeve that holds the vinyl record. You open it up and it's.
But the whole purpose of me driving around was because, like, I had to do stuff. So why would I have pulled over? I would have been listening to Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know. I don't nobody knows what burners like
it was
you
a
do.
weird question. I'm just pointing out how weird that question was.
Yeah.
I mean, if you tell me about the bit that you're doing, I'll engage.
I don't know what I'm doing.
All right.
It was a late night last night, man.
Tell us about it.
No, just good old fashioned New York City, block party.
Nice. Tell people who don't know what a block party is what a block party is, because we have people like in South Africa. I don't know, like what kind of neighborhoods they have. They could be like in some kind of like tribal area, like listening. They don't know what a block party is.
I wonder if they're listening in those areas.
We're the number 174th ranked fucking podcast in religion and spirituality in South Africa, my friend.
That's amazing.
So someone's listening.
Someone's listening. It's just you get a permit from the city. It closes off traffic. Everybody clears their car off the block. Everybody throws tables and chairs in the middle of the street. Yeah, hire a DJ. Maybe there's a lot of kids, a bouncy house, or slides or something. And you just act like jerks for about 12 straight hours. So I went to bed like 5 in the morning, and I can't tell you the last time I was up partying that long.
I love the view at the end of your block, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really, like, great view. Do you mind if I say what it is?
You can say it. Just
you have a beautiful view of downtown Manhattan, like One World Trade, and the whole financial district. It's really, especially at night when it's like obviously lit up. It's really pretty across the water.
Yeah, it was cool. We actually had a pretty good view of the fireworks this year.
Oh, really?
A lot of times on 4th of July, like we got the view, but it's either overcast, or whatever. You can't really see it too well. This year was really good.
Yeah. So do you want to tell people about anything that happened at the block party?
No,
just in general, just the block party.
A lot of drinking.
A lot of drinking.
Oh, so we were taking bets on like when's the fight going to break out, because that shit always happens at block parties.
I'm sorry. Let me ask you this. At the block party, was it mostly people from the block, or like a lot of their friends? Like the block was like filled up with people.
It was low key as far as block parties have gone here. Maybe it was like half participation. Yeah, and there was a lot of faces I didn't know. So yeah, a lot of people brought their friends, I guess. Yeah.
So did a fight break out?
Well, funny you should say that, because
you're the one that just brought it up.
One of the guys that I was hanging out with, his phone goes off. He jumps up and he's a volunteer EMT. Yeah, and he's like, "Gotta go." I'm like, just jumps up and goes like, "What's going on? Somebody just got stabbed."
Great. Where?
Apparently, that's what I thought it was going to be on. It was actually like 2 blocks from the block party. But from what I understand, it was somebody from the block. So
there's stabbings going on? What is happening with people?
People have lost their fucking minds.
Yeah, it feels like everyone's like what do you call it? A computer generated character in like Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean? Like that's what the city's become. Just like everyone is walking around doing like crazy shit now.
One of our what do I call them for my job? One of our counterparts, one of our contractors, was serving some work for us, and he got out of his car, left it running, left the door open. Dude got jacked, man. He didn't even get back. Guy jumped right in his car and took off with it. So
that's crazy.
So after we're done laughing at him, because now he's stranded in the middle of nowhere with doing whatever, and he goes, they found the car. And it's a good thing he wasn't there in a position to fight or because he was 10 feet away from the car. It happened so quick, he said. Because they found it. It got into an accident. It was full of drugs, and 3 guys got arrested. All had guns on them.
Right.
And so it could have been ugly. He was almost glad he just No,
I mean, listen, it's seeped down into the suburbs. Did I tell you? Remember when I was in the Dominican Republic, in February, after my mom died, it was my sister's birthday, and they have a condo in the Dominican. So we all went out there as a family to celebrate my sister's birthday. While we were there, someone broke into her house out on Long Island, and she lives in a really nice area. You know where she lives? I'll tell you where she lives without naming the town or the place. Let's just say she lives on the same street as the guy that invented the CD. You know what I mean?
What?
Yeah, so that guy invented the CD.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's so just to give everyone an example of it's estates.
I would think someone that invented the CD would be one of those people that didn't actually make any money off the design, I don't know why I thought that.
No, this guy, I mean, it wasn't the CD. It was something. It was some kind of serious, it was the microchip. He invented something super crazy that's in everything that was able to be monetized. You know what I mean?
Nice.
He's super rich.
Nice.
So while we were in the Dominican Republic, people broke into her estate and stole a Range Rover and a Mercedes from their driveway, and they have gates so you can't get in.
Wait, did I hear this right? Those were her cars that got stolen?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Her cars. Or I mean her and her husband's. Yeah. So one they found, the Range Rover they found, the Mercedes they never recovered. But yeah, the shit's spreading out in New York. And by the way, I'm not one of these people that's this city's turning into a fucking dump. You know what I mean? Because honestly, this is happening everywhere in the country. So let's not pretend this is isolated to New York or these liberal cities, because the Democrats are running. That's not the reason either. The reason is because the economy is fucked. COVID fucked the economy big time. The economy was already fucked up prior to COVID. COVID and the shutdowns have only exposed the cracks, not only in the economy but in our fucking civics as well. We are not prepared to handle anything.
Yeah, the only problem I really have with everything in New York City is the whole bail reform. I understood why it was done, but it seems it's taken to such an extreme. Every time I see a physically violent crime, it's somebody that just got out of jail, or it's awaiting trial, or something. It's ridiculous. There's no, I don't know.
It's funny that you bring that up, because when I was reading about it, when they were talking about this is what's going to be, and I think it was on the ballot. People vote. Oh no, it may not have been. It was legislation. I agreed with it because the way I understood it was, bail reform was not for violent offenders or violent offenses. And I was that makes sense. If someone shoplifts, they shouldn't be, you know what I mean? If someone even steals, more than shoplifts, let's say someone steals $10,000 worth of merchandise from Macy's. Fuck Macy's, you know what I mean? That person doesn't have to be sitting on Rikers Island awaiting trial because some Wall Street goon who fucking stole billions of dollars, they can afford bail. You know what I mean? Exactly, and what's worse, stealing some merchandise from a fucking corporation, or people that rob fucking Americans?
Or tanking my 401k for years?
Right.
Fuck them.
Right. So that's what I understood bail reform. But it seems no. It seems everyone is just getting out on bail.
And that's the problem. When I have conversations with people, they think I'm a super liberal because I believed in bail reform. Right. But that's not what we were promised.
Right.
We were promised a certain thing. The product wasn't delivered as sold. It's taken to an extreme. There's everything in this fucking country is taken to an extreme.
So again, that leads back to the lack of nuance. We've lost all ability to be nuanced. And the pendulum swings either all the way this way or all the way that way.
I know you didn't want to talk about it, but damn, even the Bible app you downloaded thought you were really into God. The nerve of them.
I mean, no. Yeah, so I have this new Bible app that I'm using. and I can use it across devices because I log in. And in order, obviously, to log in, you need an email. So they started sending me emails. And, like, the messages of the emails were like, thank you for downloading the Bible Gateway. We're glad that you've chosen us to continue your journey into faith. And I was just complaining to Scott about the presumption of these people. Like, just because I'm reading the Bible doesn't mean I'm on a journey to faith. Like, know thy enemy, you know what I'm saying? Like, a journey into faith.
So did you download the Sun Tzu Art of War app at the same time?
I read Sun Tzu already.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah, so speaking of civics and legislation, you were talking about student loan debt shit.
Student loan debt. Yeah, I understand when people say things like...
So provide context for, like, anyone who's listening, like, in Iceland right now. Do we have anyone in Iceland?
We did. I actually put a welcome Iceland to our
All right,
podcast.
so there you go. So if you're still listening in Iceland...
Yeah, and if you don't keep up with stuff that's going on in America because it's all batshit crazy.
Well, in fairness, like, everyone around the world keeps up with what goes on in America because, like, America's sort of like, it's like America's like Yahweh to other countries. You know what I mean? Like, they live at our fucking mercy. Like, if we decide we don't like another country, we just, like, fucking, we terrorize them the way, like, Yahweh terrorizes the Israelites.
Yeah.
So they got to keep up with, like, American shit.
They got to see if they're next on the radar, right?
Yeah. So go ahead. But just in case they don't.
People have been complaining about student debt as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
That when kids are going off to college, they are given they take out these loans and they end up paying them back for 50 years of their life.
Right. And why is that? Because the loan was so large?
No, the loan is quite reasonable.
Okay.
But I guess the interest rate and how it compounds and everything else. Like,
right.
I never took out a student loan. I didn't go to college. So can you take out a anyway? So people were saying that these people are buried in debt. We should do something about it. So of course I get the argument. I chose to go into the workforce when I was 16 years old because I had to. You chose to go to college, so that's the trade-off. Like, you made a choice and live by your choices. And I'm like, well, that's not really fair because. And then I got to hear, should taxpayer money pay off their debts? And I'm like, well, they gave up $10,000 if you qualified, like up to $10,000 in debt relief?
I think they got rid of $10,000, yes.
Okay.
So they knocked off $10,000, and also for people earning under, like...
Right, yeah, there's stipulations.
It was like $130,000, something like that, right. Somewhere around there. Okay, go ahead.
So, not knowing enough about it...
By the way, someone earning $130,000 in New York City is not the same as someone earning $130,000 in Toledo, Ohio.
Right, of course.
So that's another thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
now, you were. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what I was saying.
Oh, okay. So you were saying that people say that I didn't go to college, so why should I have to pay for you? Right. Then, like, why should our tax money have to go to paying for you?
My problem is we all know, we're starting to learn that these loans are predatory. Right, they preyed on kids and parents that wanted their kids to go to college, and they gave them these ridiculous terms. Found out you can never refinance them. Even if you file for bankruptcy, it still exists. So you can never get out from under this debt.
Right.
It is skeevy. It's like what they saw. I guess the boomers, maybe were more blue-collar people. They wanted better for their children, and they got pretty much every kid had to go to college. It was almost like drilled into everybody. And banks took advantage of that shit. Just like the housing crisis they took care of. All these toxic fucking mortgages they gave out. So my problem with the student debt relief is, did they change any of the rules underpinning the whole system? Or just 10 years from now they're going to do this again? You know what I mean? Are they still giving these predatory loans?
That's a very good question.
Like, you're just throwing money at a problem and not actually solving the underlying problem?
I think that there was some kind of reform to, is it Freddie Mae? That's I believe that's the
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
That's the federal. Freddie Mae, I think, is the federal like student loan program. I think there was some kind of adjustment to that.
Okay.
I'm not sure, like to what extent, and I'm not sure if in fact it did happen. I think there was though.
There has to be because you can't just throw money at this. And so I understand this isn't your debt. But I also understand these are your neighbors. These are your neighbors' kids. These are your neighborhood people you see all the time. Why not? Why are you okay with the PPP loans during COVID? You're okay with bailing out banks and car companies, but your poor, lazy neighbor doesn't deserve a fucking break? It's just weird, man, how people think. And listen, again, I don't know how I feel about it, but I tell people all the time, I wish they would stop spending our tax money on so-and-so, such and such. I was like, I don't care what they spend it on because I'm never going to see it. I'll have a pothole in front of my house for 12 fucking years. No matter how much we tax more people or rearrange where the money's going, it's never coming here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I feel good for the people that got their debt relieved.
You feel good for
I
them.
do.
Okay.
But I understand the pushback, but sometimes I don't understand the lot. The one argument I can't stand, I had to pay back my loan. Why don't they? Well, you know, I got my leg blown off in a fucking,
right.
Come on, stop it.
That's like a black person in 1920 who's old being like, I had to be a slave. How come like these like black people today aren't slaves?
Right.
They don't know how lucky they are. It's like, yes, because society has moved on. Unfortunately, you were part of that generation.
Yeah.
Right.
And you didn't seem to care about, I don't know, just whatever, man. So that's my feelings on student debt.
Yeah. I mean,
student debt relief.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely. Here's what I think. I think basically, if you went to like Harvard, let's say, I'm using extreme, but let's say you went to Harvard and you spent $100,000 a year on tuition and you borrowed like money. You know what I mean? You should have to pay back your tuition money.
Absolutely. Your principal should never be excused.
I feel like, yes.
Absolutely.
I feel the problem is these predatory interest rates that they lock these kids into, And I think what you said was very astute and the key to the whole thing. When you said at a certain point, like you just had to go to college, like they were forcing kids to go to college and banks took advantage of that.
Yep.
Everyone took advantage of it, like employers made everyone have to have like a college degree, and then so colleges now, more kids started applying to colleges, and like at a certain point a college degree became like what a high school diploma used to be. And a master's degree now is like what a college degree. You know what I'm saying? Like college degrees aren't all that anymore. You need like master's level like qualifications now in the workforce.
And I agree. How come people don't go to trade schools and blah 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 blah? That's because they were kind of pressured not to. They were pressured to go get an academic.
Well, that's
education.
one reason. But why would I go to a trade school to learn to fix or build shit when we don't fix or build shit in this country anymore?
That's a difference.
What am I going to go to trade school to do? I mean, okay, I could be a plumber, you know what I'm saying? But there's no factory work anymore.
Yep.
Like what am I going to learn to fucking do?
Yeah, good point.
There's no jobs in this country. You know what we produce in this country now? Like zeros and ones on computer screens that fucking move money around from fucking this zero to that one and from that one to that 0001. Yeah. That's all we fucking create.
How many jobs in this country have office buildings just full of people playing around on Excel? That's like our whole country.
That's why, when America shut down, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, the white people in New York were fine because they could work from home because they don't need to be anywhere to do the work they do.
Exactly.
Because it's all digital. Because they don't produce anything. So the service industry got fucked,
Yeah.
Like the restaurant industry and like retail, they got fucked. They were forced to shut down. They have to be there. White people fucking didn't lose their jobs because white people work in like offices, and office work doesn't require you to be in an office really.
I do most of my work's in the field. I do some work from home, but they actually, my company, we got rid of our office. Like permanently. Like I'm never going back to the office because there's no office to go back to.
And it makes sense for the company because now
Certainly.
that's so much less overhead for them.
Now, they don't have to worry about cleaning the bathrooms, fixing the lights. That's your house, dude. Fix that shit yourself. So, yeah.
I mean, unless you're like a micromanager like Yahweh, you know what I mean, who has to like fucking tell everyone exactly like what to do and how long something should be, like a fucking cubit. And
so let's talk about that. Like, I understand sometimes why Yahweh's pissed off. Like, let's use the office analogy. How many times do I gotta tell this fucking guy who's worked here for 4 years how to use the copier? Like, I'm tired of it. If you stick a fork in the outlet where the copier is and you die, that's not Yahweh's fault. At this
all
point.
right, but in fairness, you've gone to work for someone who in the job interview said this to you. By the 6th day that I hire you, if you cut off the foreskin on your penis, I promise you that one day I will put you on the board of this company, right? So on the 6th day of employment, you fucking removed your foreskin with a flint knife or whatever. And, now it's like 400 years later and you're still not on the board. And it's actually more than 400 years later. Let's say it's 600 years since the promise was made.
Has it been that long now?
What's that?
How long has the promise been?
Since Abraham. He told Abraham, I will give, like, you and your ancestors a land, like you'll spread, like, sand or whatever the analogy was. What's that?
Don't do that again.
Like stars in the sky.
Dust of the earth.
Yeah.
It was. Brings us to Numbers 20, the waters of Miriam.
Oh, shit. Hold up, son.
What?
I got to get my phone because, like, I don't remember any of this.
I
and
took
I don't
no
have
notes on this either, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll start it off. The whole congregation came to the wilderness of Zin, and they stayed in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. Which one was Miriam? That was Aaron's sister, right?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was...
did she die from the radiation poisoning?
I got to tell you, bro, that was quite the fucking... That was a shitty description of the death of Miriam on your part. I would have been like, dun, dun, dun.
Oh, I was going to say, because I'll literally read it. Miriam died there and was buried there.
Yeah.
It's a one-sentence thing
So
about
numbers, I know. So Numbers 20 starts.
So I'm not gonna add drama that's not on the page.
Oh, nah, bro. Don't you remember? Like, her and Aaron were plotting fucking.
Yeah.
And she was given her own, like, aria after they fled Egypt. Remember?
Aria?
Yeah, like, an aria is an opera number when you sing.
Oh, okay.
Remember,
right.
she had, like, her own, like, show number. Like, she had her own, like, solo dance. Like, if this was a Lin-Manuel Miranda play, like, she had, like, a feature.
I thought she had a girl that like could kill the Night King. Aria, that was her name, right?
I know, that was fucking terrible.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler
Nah,
alert.
fuck that. That was terrible. That was terrible. Why Aria and not, like, whatever. We discussed
we
this
discussed,
too.
yeah.
Fuck this.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Miriam is now dead.
Yeah.
And that's the least of everyone's problems.
But I just want to get back to, did she die of whatever, or was it the radiation poisoning from the last episode? You remember Moses and Aaron didn't get sick, but she did because she was not anointed.
Yeah, but no. But then it was specified that she would be, like, out of camp for 7 days, and then, like, she'd be fine. You know what I think this is? I think this is, like, showing you a passage of time. I think, like, some time has passed.
Okay, fair enough.
And Miriam may have been older anyway to begin with.
Yeah.
Was she, like, she might have been the older sister.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you
So,
mean?
guess what?
We'll think about it. Yeah, I don't know.
Think about what?
I don't know. Like, are you in a rush to, like, move on? Like, you don't want to...
I don't want to dwell on Miriam's
You don't want to
death.
dwell on Miriam, is what you're saying.
Not really, yeah.
That's interesting. I felt like she was important.
Okay.
All right.
Let's have a moment of silence. for
I
Miriam.
would like to have a moment of silence.
Let's have a moment of talking about it. I think that's more respectful than silence. So go
Talking
ahead.
about it?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about Miriam, man.
Well, Miriam was a woman in the Bible. Miriam
Who left us too soon.
talked about something at the foot of Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't know.
I do not remember either. And then she plotted against Moses with her brother Aaron.
I don't want to say plotted against because it was justified, like what they were talking about. It wasn't I guess it was a plot, but
it was, yeah, she was plotting, and whether it was justified, that's a matter of opinion. But
yeah.
either way, she's dead now.
Dun dun dun.
There you go. And I think we've now done our due diligence on Miriam, and we can respectfully move along.
Yeah. You think Joshua will ever get that respect?
All right. So now that Miriam's dead, let's not forget that there's a whole congregation of Israelites.
Oh, a ton of them.
Nearly 700,000 strong, minus the
15,000.
minus the 15,000 that Yahweh murdered last episode.
Yahweh, man.
Yeah, they don't have water. Because they're like, in the wilderness.
Feeling a bit thirsty.
Yeah. So they're like annoyed. Okay, so in Numbers 20, verse 3, the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Would that we had died when our kindred died before the Lord. Why have you brought the assembly of the Lord into this wilderness for us and our livestock to die here? Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to bring us to this wretched place? It is no place for grains or figs or vines or pomegranates.
Eat pomegranates.
And there is no water to drink." So, I mean, again, on the one hand, I think it's reasonable,
It's
but
completely legitimate.
But on the other hand, it's like what you said. Like, if you're being led by Yahweh, you've already seen all this shit that Yahweh's done. Yo, shut the fuck up, son.
Here's the problem. I have a problem with this on a couple of levels. One, it's a reasonable complaint. But why are you waiting, I guess, to the point you're like we're all, water, need water, before you start complaining and using the same damn argument, we were better off in Egypt, all that shit. How about going, hey, yo, Moses, man, when you talk to your buddy up there, how about a little water? Like, start, like, easy. They come with, like, pitchforks and torches, looking to lynch the guy.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, they're not like, they're not polished. They're not polished people. They don't know how to, like, finesse a situation.
I'll say this. Why the hell do they even have to ask? Like, obviously Yahweh's an alien. Maybe doesn't know how humans work, but they know we need food and water.
And Moses certainly knows.
Moses certainly knows. But Moses is in the tent chilling with everything.
Why is Moses such a shitty leader? No, for real. If you really think about it, he's not anticipating the needs of his people.
Because he's a suck ass. That's how he got the job. He's just a
Is
suck
he
ass.
getting water?
Yeah, I haven't heard him complain about any food.
That's what
and
I'm
water.
saying. It seems
the
like
priests get all the cuts of everything
in the tabernacle, right? Like they're getting all that shit in the tabernacle. So this is kind of like, you know what this is like? This is like pre-revolutionary France, where like the people are like trying to rise up against the monarchy, you know? Like right before the fucking fall of like Louis the 16th and then the fucking guillotine.
Yeah, Moses and the boys living high on the hog.
I mean, right. So, again, on the one hand, you have reasonable requests. On the other hand, the way these requests are coming across is, not the best way to do it. Like, you could do it.
Or maybe like they don't cover all of it. Maybe they do tell them all the time, running low on water here. Why does Yahweh have to be reminded, though? I don't get it.
Yeah, he's not omnipotent.
So Moses and Aaron go to the communication hub.
Yeah, that's the tabernacle.
They're like, Yahweh, just something you might want to mention that we have no water. And he says, take this staff and go to a rock, and water will come out of a rock.
Yeah.
So I'm reading this, and I'm thinking, oh, this is going well. He was like, oh, shit, yeah, here you go. I'm thinking there's nothing wrong here. Nothing's going to go wrong.
Yep.
So Moses goes out and he goes, listen, you rebels.
Well, I'm going to read it, all right? I'll read it. So, Moses goes to the assembly. You all right?
He was a bug. Oh, I missed him.
You're like an ADHD child tonight.
There's a bug crawling on the floor.
All right,
See if
fair
they get me.
enough.
I'm going up on the table.
All right. I don't know why that had to like make the air though. Like people didn't need to know.
Well, I can't stomp a bug and not explain what that stomping came from.
Fair enough. Numbers 20.
If you ignored my antics over here, nobody would know anything that's going on.
No. So do you want me to ignore you or not? I'm actually engaging with you, and you're complaining about this too.
Yo, could you?
All right.
Could you please?
Numbers 20, verse 10. Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, "Listen, you rebels, shall we bring water for you out of this rock?" All right. I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to continue, all right?
You rebel scum.
Why is he... All right. They go to him. Tell me if I'm mistaking the timeline. They're like, "Wham, Moses, we don't have any water. We're going to die of thirst." Moses goes to Yahweh. He says they're complaining that there's no water. Yahweh says, "Take a staff, hit a rock, and water will come out of it." And that's where we are now, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So why does Moses, right, say, "Listen, you rebel"? Like he's already stirring them up, right? He's being a stiff-necked asshole also. "Listen, you rebels, shall we bring water for you out of this rock?" He's making it like a magic trick, right? But Yahweh didn't say any of that. Yahweh said, "Take the staff, hit the rock, give him some water." Moses is making like some big fucking scene out of it. And like berating like the Israelites. And like he's not even giving it to them. He's like, is he like asking him to beg for water? Is that what he's doing?
I think he's getting high on himself. Yeah, he's definitely like, because now that you say it, I picture he probably walks up to the office door. He's like, "Hey, boss, the Israelites, we need some water." And he doesn't even look up from his desk. He's like, "Oh, yeah, take this staff. Yeah, go down by that rock. Yeah, go."
Right.
Like he's just not even bothered. Like
he's doing like other shit. He's filling out a report for like his higher ups. Yeah.
His TP7s or his TP reports.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Moses.
Yeah, and then Moses takes like, he's like the authority now. So then Moses lifted up his hand and struck the rock twice with his staff. Water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their livestock drank. Okay. Now, this next part, I am thoroughly confused by.
Before you move on.
Go ahead.
Is it possible that Moses is mad at them because they're not doing the work? Like, if you're in the wilderness, you got to get water. Maybe there's water there, and they're just not doing it. They expect to be coddled and handheld the whole way.
So what you're saying is there's obviously water in these rocks. Why are they not breaking apart these rocks?
These magic water rocks.
All right. So everything is going according to plan, it seems like, right? Moses did exactly what Yahweh said.
Yeah.
So this next part confuses me tremendously. Numbers 20, verse 12. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not trust in me to show my holiness before the eyes of the Israelites, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land that I have given them." So, in our last episode, he fucking told like all these complainers that they and like their kids or something won't like, or just they.
I don't think anybody that's alive at this period is making it. I thought.
Yeah.
Or was it? No. Maybe it was.
No, it was only the complainers
20-year-olds and older. No,
something
I think
like that.
He
right.
said the whole congregation.
So he
going.
said like certain people aren't going to be able to make it to the promised land. Yeah. Now it seems like he's telling Moses and Aaron that they will not lead the congregation. Therefore, you shall not bring this assembly into the land that I have given them. So he's saying you listen again. I'm going to read this again because this is important. So Numbers. Only a scumbag like you would laugh at that. Like every other person on the, in the Christian world would be like, yes, this is important. Yeah, I'm sure. But like, it's just like so funny to you, isn't
99% of the Christian world hasn't even read this. Like, don't worry.
All right. Numbers, that was pretty funny though. That the fact that you laughed at that, that's perfect. Numbers 20, verse 12. And this is, for our understanding, fairly important. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, mind you, this is right after Moses gets water out of the rock. Okay. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, because you did not trust in me to show my holiness before the eyes of the Israelites, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land that I have given them. So he's basically saying, because you didn't trust in me, but I don't know what that means.
Well,
They weren't supposed to go and complain to him about the water?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But what I'm thinking, now that you said it like that, so maybe he's not talking about the assembly won't make it there, just Aaron and Moses won't be the ones to bring them there.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, but
That's
I didn't
he's
hear
saying.
that until you read it. Like, that's not how I took it. I took it, these fucking people are never getting to the promised land.
Yeah, no, because in Numbers, whatever, 16 or 17, one of those, he told, like, the congregation that was complaining, because they were already complaining, remember, about, like, there was no meat and there's no this.
Right.
And so he's already told them, yo, all you fucking, whoever's complaining right now, you're not making it to, like, the promised land. Like, that's it. Now he's telling Moses and Aaron, you two aren't making the promised land. So every episode now, like, less and less people are going to make it. It's like The Walking Dead. Like, who's going to go next?
So now when you ask, like, who should turn back and go to Egypt? Everyone that was told they ain't making it. Like, why are you bothering with this nonsense?
That is absolutely true. Yeah. I don't know why they don't just leave.
Because there's a lot of people that he's saying aren't making it now.
Right. Because they're stiff necks. Maybe they don't believe him.
If what he's saying is true, why, Moses and Aaron should be like, all right, peace out.
Yeah. So, in any event, Moses and Aaron, they're going to put up with this nonsense. I guess they're too old at this point to, like...
Yeah, they're stuck in their ways.
And honestly, I mean, whatever at this point. They're safe. They're fed, right? They're with, like, the Israelites. I mean, what is life going to be like for them in Egypt? What are they going to do?
It doesn't get better than this.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do? So
right now there's probably a case file opened up on that dead Egyptian in the sand.
Oh, 100%. If not for, like, the, drowning of the entire army, like, I'd say that's on
What do we find out this whole Old Testament story about them leaving Egypt was Moses creating all of this because he didn't want the murder pinned on him. He didn't want to get caught on the murder. Oh, it's an elaborate scheme to get out of it.
Wow, that's crazy. That's worse than that woman that faked, like, being in 9/11. You know about that woman?
Probably, maybe. Refresh my memory.
Bro, there's, like, a whole, like, Netflix documentary about her or something, like the woman who wasn't there. It was a creepy story. So this woman, she claimed that she was in the fucking World Trade Center when it collapsed on 9/11. And
not when it collapsed on 9/10.
And what do you call it? She joined, like, all these survivor groups, and she like started survivor groups, and she did good. Like, she did a lot of good.
Really?
And then it turned out, like, she was not, like, anywhere near, like, the towers that day. I think she was, like, in another country, and, like, she fucking, like, she told people her story, like, for years. And there's, like, an interesting documentary about her.
Was she crazy, or she was a scammer? Or, like,
we don't know.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Because
I mean, probably both, right? You probably have to be. There's no such thing as crazy, you know what I mean? She probably had some kind of pathology, and, like, she was scamming people, but I mean, like, she was doing good.
Whatever happened to people just being fucking crazy?
It's kind of like Lance Armstrong, Lance Armstrong was a fucked up asshole who ruined a lot of lives. Like, people who knew that he was, like, doping, and, like, he fucking ruined their lives when they fucking tried to, like, expose him. But he saved a lot of lives with that fucking cancer fucking wristband. Remember that cancer wristband? Everybody, Live Strong. Man, everyone had a fucking either a shirt or fucking, and all that money went to fucking, like, cancer research.
And you could argue the fact that if it wasn't for Lance Armstrong, nobody would know anything about bicycling, like racing.
Well, in fairness, Greg LeMond. When we were in high school, Greg LeMond was fucking rocking the fucking...
Wasn't he a
Tour
diver?
de France. What?
Wasn't he a diver?
No, that was Greg Louganis,
Same initials, right?
who was fucking
okay,
awesome when we were kids. Yeah.
He whacked his head on the diving board. Remember
That's
that
right.
still picture of his head hitting the diving board?
In Seoul. That was in like 1988.
He died of AIDS, right?
I don't know. No, he didn't die of AIDS.
Did he catch the
Is he
HIV?
dead?
I don't even know now.
I don't know. He might have AIDS though. He might have had HIV that became AIDS.
Because I kind of thought, I remember someone saying, like, before they knew much about it, they're like, we don't want this guy in a swimming pool with us, or, something like
Yes.
that. So, I don't know.
Yes,
All right.
that's very possible.
Greg Louganis, look him up.
Greg LeMond, look him up. He was
George LeMond,
He was
look him
a
up.
great fucking bicyclist.
Remember George LeMond?
George LeMond? Yeah, he was bad. Right.
One of
Yes.
them freestyle guys.
Freestyle.
He still goes touring with a bunch of freestyle people.
I can't listen to freestyle music anymore because I realize how bad the singing is.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning last night. As the DJ already had left, I cranked up some freestyle.
Yeah, I mean the music is fine. The singing is
Oh,
really
so speaking
bad.
of George LeMond, he does who's "Don't Stop Believing" as a Journey song.
Yes.
No, that's not the song he does.
Don't stop believing.
I don't know if that's one. He does one of either a Journey song.
Hold on to the dream.
I want to say it's that song.
Yeah.
And he does an amazing job. He can actually sing. Like you wouldn't know it by the crappy freestyle
George
music.
LeMond, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was the way they recorded. Maybe they recorded real fast, not a lot of takes. His voice was all pitchy. Like in today's world, they would just auto-tune that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get back to these fucking stiff necks in the wilderness. So Moses sends a messenger from this place called Kadesh
That's where they're at.
to the king of Edom. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, you're not making fun of Edom now?
No, I'm not. Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the adversity that has befallen us. How our ancestors went down to Egypt, and we lived in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians oppressed us and our ancestors. And when we cried to the Lord, he heard our voice and sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. And here we are in Kadesh, a town on the edge of your territory. So he's giving them this whole backstory because what does he want?
He wants to travel through the territory.
Yeah, he wants to travel through their territory.
He's like, hey, it's your brother Israel.
That's
Oh,
yes.
we're boys now? I didn't know. I didn't know we were boys.
Not just that, but here's the thing, Scott. Israel
Rusty.
is really Jacob.
Yeah.
Jacob is the son of Isaac. Jacob's the one that stole Isaac's blessing, stole his brother's fucking inheritance,
Okay.
and fucking fled. Remember? And then he slept, and he had the dream, the Jacob's ladder dream. And then he worked for his uncle or whatever, who promised him a wife, but then fucking made him marry and fuck the wife's sister, but he loved the other woman. Remember all this? Then he that's Israel. Israel is the father of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcode guy.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what he's not referring to Israel the person. He's referring to Israel the congregation.
So that's my question, because it was hard for me to understand, because I don't think this is the only place that Israel came up in our reading this week, and it kind of seemed like they were referring to a person, not the congregation.
Oh,
Your brother Israel, or does he mean brother in terms of a sister city, you're Edom and we're Israel?
And we're brothers in humanity or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
That's
he's trying
fine.
to appeal
Okay.
to,
Okay.
And then he gives them the
Now
sob
I can see
story.
why rabbis sit over fucking the Bible and study it word for word, and try to interpret it.
Or try and twist it.
Because you can interpret it, right? You can interpret it any way you want, man.
Some of it should be clearer, not written in riddle, which he clearly said he writes in.
I mean,
talks
really,
in riddles.
Scott. All right, so what does Edom
What
say?
the fuck was that?
I'm agreeing with you.
Forcefully.
Yeah. Well, look, Scott, sometimes you need encouragement. And,
Okay.
tonight's one of those nights. I could tell you need some encouragement. You had a rough night. You're not really on firm ground with tonight's material, right? I'm not either.
I can barely see you.
Yeah, we're gonna get through this together, Scott.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Sweating for no reason.
Yeah, so now this fucker, the king of Edom, the request has been put in to have Israel travel through all seven. Can we please have 700,000 people move through your town? We promise. You won't even notice us.
We're refugees from the South, escaping war-torn.
No,
Can we travel
bro.
through your country to the American southern border?
Bro. So we spent some time in Albuquerque this summer, right? That city's got like 600,000 people. Okay? That's a city, like a decent-sized city, Albuquerque. That's 600,000 people. There's 700 Israelites, and they're like asking, like, can we move through your town? And this is back in like the day when towns are not that big. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you ever make a wrong turn in Albuquerque?
And wind up like underground, like popping up in New York.
Was it Bugs Bunny?
Yeah. Well, that was what he would say. Yeah. I must have made a wrong turn.
I just didn't remember who said it. I just remember it was said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Edom says no.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, we'll stay on the King's Highway. I guess it goes to Brooklyn. I don't know. And we won't go in your fields. We won't go in anything. And they're like, no, you can't come.
Yeah, he doesn't want them there. He's like,
Why doesn't
I'll
he want
fuck
them
you
there?
up.
Why doesn't he want them there, though? He never says why.
Because of the joke I just made, bro. Do you understand how many 700,000 people are?
Yes.
Even if it was like City Field worth of people going through like a small settlement or like kingdom. I don't know. How big do you think this guy's kingdom is? Like in square miles? Think about it.
Well, obviously he's strong enough to say no to 700,000 people.
Let's say it's 30 square miles, right? 30 square miles, 700,000 people. It's a tremendous amount of people. You don't want these vagabonds like fucking coming through your city. You're not getting reelected.
Yeah.
Look at what happened with like when Trump like made up that border thing. Like you remember like the caravan of fucking refugees or whatever he called them, right? This is 700,000 people.
They should let him in, then put him on buses and send him to like, New York.
Yo, that fucking the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, that guy's fucking hilarious. I gotta say,
really is.
I mean, listen, he didn't do anything illegal, I guess, right? And it is fucked up. He sent like illegal immigrants up to New York because New York proudly proclaims itself to be a sanctuary city. So he's like, "Oh, you're a sanctuary city? Here's some fucking people."
I think it's hysterical.
Yeah.
It sucks that we're playing with humans' lives.
Yeah,
like,
what's funny though?
but,
We are a border state. It's just not the border that Republicans worry about because, it's not brown people on our border.
And those people ain't coming south. They don't want nothing to do with us.
I mean, my concern would be if I was, let's say, a terrorist. The Canadian border is exactly where I would cross through to do some serious fucking damage. And not for nothing, but I think those kinds of people might do way more damage to us than like brown people coming from Mexico or Central America.
Which people? Like terrorists that come through the northern border?
Yeah. Because I think terrorists cost us more in the long run. Look at how much money 9/11 cost us. Those terrorists cost America trillions of dollars in its fucking failed strategy. And fucking the irony of it was that was exactly what Osama bin Laden fucking wanted. Like when he wrote like his whole treaty, it played out exactly how he wanted it to.
Yeah. Well played, Osama.
I mean, it was well played by him.
Yep.
So that gets us to Numbers 20, verse 22. The death of Aaron.
Okay, so we established they got turned away at Edom. They weren't going through Edom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we didn't establish that. Thank you for bringing us back to that, Scott.
Yes.
Yeah, so Edom's like, fuck that. He comes out with a fucking army, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like, he meets the Israelites with an army. He's like, you're not getting through here. And Moses,
They decided to go around.
Yeah.
All right, I'm cool with all sides at this point.
So that gets us to the death of Aaron. And I'm going to read this if you don't mind. they set out from Kadesh, and the Israelites, the whole congregation, came to Mount Hor. It's a funny name. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron at Mount Hor on the border of the land of Edom, let Aaron be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter the land that I have given to the Israelites, because you rebelled against my command at the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and his son Eleazar and bring them up Mount Hor. Strip Aaron of his vestments and put them on his son Eleazar. But Aaron shall be gathered to his people and shall die there. And then Moses did as the Lord had commanded. They went up Mount Hor in the sight of the whole congregation. Moses stripped Aaron of his vestments and put them on his son Eleazar, and Aaron died there on the top of the mountain. Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. When all the congregation saw that Aaron had died, all the house of Israel mourned for Aaron 30 days.
Yeah. Not cool, man. Yo, this was an execution. In front of the guy's son. This is just insane to me. Insane.
Well, here's the thing. How did Aaron die?
They don't get into it.
It doesn't say, right.
It's obviously not of natural causes because God said
Right.
to do this, and he's going to die, and it was a punishment. He clearly said it was because of
Yeah.
he rebelled.
Right. So it backs up my point about earlier when he tells specifically Moses and Aaron, you two fucking failed me,
okay.
and you're
Okay.
not going to get into like the promised land, right? But like again, that brings us back to what was the betrayal? He told Moses, here's what you do. Take a staff and fucking hit some rocks. Was the betrayal the way he spoke to the Israelites? Was the betrayal him coming to Yahweh in the first place with this problem?
That's what I think it was. I don't think
like bothering him.
Yahweh does not give a shit how he talks to the Israelites.
Right.
It's not his
so
problem.
bizarre. So why are you bothering me with this nonsense?
I don't know.
That is fucking crazy. So
Wait. Is it possible, like I said, God didn't even look up from his spreadsheet when he asked for the water? And then maybe Moses came back and told Yahweh, yo, Aaron's becoming a fucking problem. Because Moses sucks at his job.
Yeah.
He's deflecting it to Aaron. We got to do something about Aaron. And Aaron's like the sacrificial lamb, the scapegoat.
I got to tell you something I just thought of. When Miriam and Aaron were plotting against Moses, we were all surprised that God punished Miriam. Remember, he gave her like leprosy for a week or whatever. She had to stay outside of camp, but he didn't do anything to Aaron. But Aaron's been with Moses from the beginning. Like, Aaron's been the mouthpiece of Yahweh pretty much because Moses is a fucking mushmouth. This is the punishment, bro. It's worse than Miriam's punishment. Aaron's punishment is death, and they fucking strung it out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But I have to go on the record again saying I believe Miriam's sickness was an accident. She wasn't anointed. She wasn't properly
right,
protected.
I understand what you're saying. Like, the story is retconning, like, what really happened.
Yes, what really happened.
I'm saying, like, the story isn't telling us Yahweh's an alien. It's framing it like he's a god.
So the killing of Aaron at this point is like the last bad thing God's going to do in tonight's readings, right?
Oh, I'm sure he can't do anything worse.
No, I'm sure he can't.
So that gets us to Numbers 21, the bronze serpent. Oh, you want me to do it?
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
All right, so
whatever.
when the Canaanite, the king of Arad, who lived in Negeb, heard that Israel was coming, he fought against Israel and took some of them captive.
Yeah.
And then Israel made a vow to the Lord and said, if you will indeed give this people into our hands, then we will utterly destroy their towns. Yahweh perked up. What? You're going to blow something up? Awesome.
I like that they know.
Yeah.
If they go to Yahweh and they're like, yo, can we fuck up? Like, can you help us fuck up this town? We know,
Instead of saying, yo, dude, why are you punishing? Give us fucking water. They should have said, yo, Yahweh, give us some water. We'll kill a couple people for you.
Yeah, he has.
Maybe this is the beginning of them learning.
Maybe what?
This is the beginning of them learning how to deal with Yahweh.
Yeah. I mean, they have to at this point because Aaron's dead, Miriam's dead. Moses is the only conduit left now.
Yeah, so he hands the Canaanites over to them, and they destroy everything in this one town, I guess. And then they set out on to go further. And
all right.
Oh yeah.
And then we reach Numbers 21, verse 5. Like these fucking people haven't learned yet, right?
And I just said maybe they're starting to learn, right?
Yeah, no. They're not learning shit.
No.
The people spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and we detest this miserable land.
Food.
Yeah, so I'm sure, based on everything from the past, that this will not affect Yahweh in any way.
Uber Eats is going to show up.
He's going to take this
up.
reasonably.
Yeah.
He's going to learn from the criticism, and he's going to try and adjust.
Yeah.
Then the Lord sent poisonous serpents among the people, and they bit the people, so that many Israelites died.
Okay.
Do you think it was like, you remember Hitchcock's The Birds? Do you think it was like that, but with serpents? Like that level of serpents?
People are hiding in a
You
phone
know what I
booth.
mean?
Yeah.
Was it mass panic? Why? I don't understand why some verses, or some chapters get these long stories, and some shit like this, it just gets a sentence.
I was wondering if this is based on historical records, that maybe this congregation actually settled in a place that had a bunch of poisonous snakes in it.
Oh.
They got bit in their sleep or whatever.
This is the origin of St. Patrick.
Possibly.
Didn't he drive the snakes out of Ireland?
Yeah. Did they make it to Ireland?
What?
Did these people make it to Ireland?
I don't know.
So maybe this actually happened.
Yeah, these people actually made it everywhere. They spread all over the world like a disease, right, Scott?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So maybe this actually happened, and then they just fictionalized it to make, it was God's wrath. No, you just camped in a jungle. Camped in the wrong fucking spot.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, Scott. Maybe they did.
But no.
Maybe they did fictionalize it, or maybe this is real.
Well, yeah, because that fiction's better than telling people that they're a god sent these snakes to kill them. I don't know.
It's so crazy, isn't it? People love Yahweh. People love, this God. I don't understand it.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you this. In public settings, oh, yeah, Yahweh's my man. Yahweh's my man. In the living room, there's fucking Yahweh shit.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying, man. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah.
Good thing he didn't have Alexa listening in on everything or Siri.
Oh,
right?
shit, man. All right. So, the people came to Moses and said, this after being bitten up by the snakes. It's such a childish thing, too. You know what I mean? Yahweh, it's like he did the most impulsive thing he can think of. People were complaining. So he whatever. He just set snakes loose on them. The people came to Moses and said, we have sinned by speaking against the Lord and against you. They're just catching on to this.
Oh, yeah.
Pray to the Lord to take away the serpents from us. So Moses prayed for the people. And the Lord said to Moses, make a poisonous serpent and set it on a pole. And everyone who is bitten shall look at it and live. So Moses made a serpent of bronze and put it upon a pole. And whenever a serpent bit someone, that person would look at the serpent of bronze and live. So I like how Yahweh, right? He doesn't get rid of the snakes. He still enjoys watching people get bit by them and run from them.
Do you think they had a lockdown order, try to flatten the curve, so while the cure was being developed?
No, I think Yahweh like did the opposite of a lockdown. He made everyone be like out in the streets to watch them like scurry about.
Oh man, he had to call over the other people on his ship. Go, come on, watch this. This is hysterical.
Oh my God, this is the craziest fucking story.
So they complained about stuff, and that's why he sent the snakes. I wouldn't have complained about the snakes. Just let it run its course, because he might get really mad if you complain about something else.
Yeah.
And the serpent on the staff, isn't that used like in our medical symbols to this day? Like EMTs and even in sanitation.
That's true. There is a serpent on a staff. This is what this is, you're thinking?
Like maybe, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's in the medical industry, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. All right.
Can't remember what it's
That's
about,
actually, that might be a revelation and a fact check.
All right, I'm on it.
All right. It's timestamp 109 of episode 37.
I listen to these,
Right. So that gets us to the journey to Moab. So they camped out in some place called Oboth, and then they set out and camped at another place, and everything is in the wilderness because...
Well, everything is a wilderness. There's no cities and stuff.
Well, I think the problem is this, Scott. The problem is they were under the impression that they were being led to a land of milk and honey, where for generations they and their offspring will prosper. That's what was promised to them. So I think, again, I understand they shouldn't be complaining, because if they fear for their lives, keep your mouth shut. But at some point, it's a matter of principle too, right? Like, you promised us this land, but now you're saying we have to fight for it. That wasn't revealed to us earlier.
Right. But I'm also thinking that when God gets in on your side on a fight, it's not even a fight. You're winning. But they've lost a battle or two, because I guess they forgot to whistle.
Yeah, Yahweh did say that. Yahweh did say, I will, I'll make, 5 of you destroy, armies of hundreds.
How come Yahweh didn't get involved with Edom? They just went, okay, we'll make a left. Why?
I think he's still upset with the congregation for being annoyed about water and whatnot, so he's not in the mood to help them, and he wants them to wander through.
Do you think
the
when the Edom army came to the Israelites, Moses stood in front, was like, hold on, I just got to make a phone call. He's going to say, yo, Yahweh, these punks are blocking our way. And he's like, damn, it's going to voicemail. He keeps sending me to voicemail.
No, I don't think you get it. Here's the whole Edom situation was, what Moses said was, yo, can we just walk through your town, right? But the reality was, it was more like when a bum friend of yours is like, yo, Scott, man, can I crash for the night? And then the night turns into a month. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think Yahweh kind of knew if Moses is allowed to march through this place, they're gonna find women and settle, and they're just gonna establish themselves there.
He's like, and then that bum that's still in your house, he overhears a conversation with you and your wife. Well, what do you want to do? Throw him out in the street, babe? Well, it's your friend. You shouldn't have let him come in the first place. And then they look into the room at him,
and he's totally listening. Yeah.
All right. So when I first read The Journey to Moab,
yeah,
I thought of a journey not as a physical walking from place to place, more of a journey of a project. I was like, are they building the mother of all bombs?
No, they're just wandering from place to place. It's just basically them. It's a description of them camping here, then they camp here. And the word wilderness comes up a lot, they're in the wilderness.
I'm going to point out my Moab joke. Do you know what the Moab is?
No.
The mother of all bombs.
Oh, I remember that. It's Moab. That's from the Iraq War, isn't it?
The most powerful non-nuclear weapon in America's arsenal.
That was the Russian, helium bomb or something?
No, the Moab's American.
Wasn't this...
It's a palletized thing they push out the back of a cargo plane.
I thought the Tsar bomb was the most powerful bomb.
No, I said in the American arsenal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Apparently, Russia has one they call the father of all bombs.
Okay.
Just to one up us.
All right. So they're basically like singing songs and wandering from. You want to hear some of these songs or what?
Absolutely not, man. They're awful to read. Forget singing.
No, I'm going to try singing.
Wait, hold, before you do that, they describe that they're moving from place to place.
Yeah.
And then there's a sentence here, wherefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord.
Oh, my God. Where's that? Which verse?
14.
Okay, wherefore it is... Okay, I gotcha.
So that's we got to add that to the list of things to check out.
Wherefore? That's easy.
No. The book of the wars of the Lord. Give out the word.
Oh, shit. I skipped over that? That's quite the title.
Yeah.
The Book of the Wars of the Lord.
It's like fucking a story of fire and ice here.
Nah, they got to make that into like a mini-series or something.
Shit.
Yeah. I would fucking watch the shit out of that, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that shit is stupid. Whatever's said in the Book of the Wars.
I don't. Is this even English? I don't know what the hell these words are.
Wahib in Sufa and the Wadis, those are people. The Arnon and the slopes of the Wadis.
Well, no, the Wadis aren't capitalized. How could it be a name? Well,
That extend, maybe they don't look at them as real full human, that extend to the seat of Ar and lie along the border of Moab.
Yeah.
All right.
The footnote is meaning of Heb uncertain. I'm going to say the meaning of English is uncertain here, too.
So then, as they wander around.
Oh, shit, they're going someplace. Cool, I heard.
Go ahead, Scott. Where are they going?
From there, they continue to Beer.
And
this is in Beersheba, right?
I do you remember what Beersheba means? The place where?
Beer means well.
Okay, well. Oh, yes, that was the well. All right, so they're at the well.
That is the well of which the Lord said to Moses, gather the people together, and I will give them water. Oh, thanks.
All right,
thanks.
so there you go. And then they sang this song.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to sing it. You ready? How should I sing it? What?
To the tune of, I wish I could beatbox.
Why? What would you do?
I'd beatbox some sounds for you to rap.
Oh,
rap
I
this to.
see. Sorry. All right.
What the fuck is wrong
You
with
ready?
you?
Spring up a well, sing to it, the well that the leaders sank, that the nobles of the people dug, with the scepter, with the staff.
Okay, so now did God produce this? It sounds like they're describing like they drilled the well, like people did this.
I don't even know. The lyrics were so fucking terrible. That's all I was thinking. I was like, oh my God, these are some poverty lyrics.
Yep.
You know who did not write these lyrics? Sia. Sia did not write these lyrics.
Sia writes some good shit, man.
Nor did Roger Waters.
Yeah, I like Sia. I saw her in concert, too.
This is not Dylan-esque.
She only performed for like 45 minutes, dude.
What'd she do? Did she do that really depressing song? Oh, my God. I hurt myself to... how's that song go? I hurt myself today.
I don't know.
It's like really depressing.
I don't know. Most of her songs, if you listen to the lyrics, are pretty depressing.
No, I know, but the whole song itself, the music of the song. Anyway. All right. So, I've just sung, and they're still in the fucking wilderness. No matter how much they sing, they can't forget the fact that they're still in the wilderness. All right. So that gets us to King Sion defeated in Numbers 21.
I just want to point out that you're not saying Zion.
I'm not saying Zion.
Right, so
correct.
that word comes up.
Sihon. Sihon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll pronounce it Sion, or is it Sihon? Sihon.
Yeah, it's just not Zion.
All right. So Israel sent messengers to King Sihon of the Amorites, saying, "Let me pass through your land. We will not turn aside into field or vineyard. We will not drink the water of any well. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed through your territory." So again, they want to be able to pass through this massive, 700,000 people. How long does it take
I get it, man. I get it. When you
to
put it
empty
like that,
out like a stadium is a good hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 700,000 people walking through a town. That's not going to be a day.
No.
So what was the response, Scott?
No. They say no. But now Israel's like, no, fuck that. We ain't taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
Because I guess their army wasn't that big. So Israel put the sword and took possession of the land. From Arnon to Jabbok, as far as the Ammonites, for the boundary of the Ammonites was strong. Oh, so they went up to the Ammonites, and they chilled out because they didn't want to get smacked around.
Yeah.
Israel took all these towns, and Israel settled in all the towns of the Amorites.
And be thankful we ain't taking more, bitches.
Yeah, which is funny. So maybe, what do you call it? Edom was completely justified turning these people away.
Yeah.
Or would they have just walked through peacefully?
No, this is what I'm saying. There's no way that they would have walked through peacefully. Once like 700,000 people see the lap of luxury, like a town after being in the wilderness for so long, there's no way they're gonna keep walking through.
Yeah, freshly swept.
Even
dirt
if it's like,
floors.
even if it's like 100 people that are like, "Yo, man, I'm not gonna move on," they're gonna have like members of their family that are gonna be like, "All right, we'll stay too," and 100 people that want to stay is gonna turn into like tens of thousands of people that are gonna want to stay.
And therefore, the ballad singers say, and they sing this basically a victory song, talking about how they established.
You want to sing it together?
No.
Come to the Heshbon, let it be built. Let the city of Sihon be established. All right.
There's 3 more verses, man.
No, it's all right. It's clunky lyrics.
And then he's like, "Woe to you, O Moab!"
It's
basically,
like
basically they're dancing on their graves at this point.
The lyrics are clunky enough to be a Rush song.
You are undone, O people of Chemosh. Yeah, so they just basically they waste until fires spread, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's basically like going nah, 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 fuck you people.
They're being dicks.
Yeah.
All right, it brings us to King Og.
King Og, not just King Og, King Og defeated.
Oh, right. That's a pretty big part of it.
So they went up the road to Bashan, and King Og of Bashan fought them. But the Lord said to Moses, "Do not be afraid of him, for I have given him into your hand with all his people and his land. You shall do to him as you did to King Sihon of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon." Who lived in Heshbon. So they, the Israelites, killed him, his sons, and all his people until there was no survivor left, and they took possession of his land.
Okay.
No. Don't even... Yo, let me tell you something. Don't give me that fucking look, you fucking colonizing piece of shit sitting on a fucking island that was once populated by people who were genocided so you can have a beautiful view of downtown Manhattan, all right? So don't give me that fucking look about the Israelites.
Dude, I had no idea they could not handle the smallpox virus when I gave them those blankets.
Yeah, so, I mean, not the best fucking...
When shit like this, like, you try and... I think it plays on your sympathies. Like, these people were oppressed for so many years. They're finally going to... Like, if I had any sympathy at this point, it's eroded completely.
Yeah.
There was no need to kill every single person. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I mean, I think it's not, it's not Yahweh and it's not the Israelites. I think it's the people that sat down to write these fucking stories. They're the demented ones, if you really think about it. Because none of this shit happened, but some demented person this is the story they came up with.
Getting a little tired of you just saying it matter-of-factly like it never happened.
It's unbelievable, man.
How could this be the foundations of, like, 3 major religions and you're telling me it never happened?
I think it's...
98% of, like, the world's population believes in this book.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to, like, explore for sure the theory that Yahweh is an alien, because it's funny. And, I mean, the evidence is laid out there. There's definitely evidence for it. Yeah. But I think it's also interesting to explore the psychology of the people who wrote this. And, like, this is what they thought a god and, like, their ancestors were like. Blemishes you know, in all, but they thought like in the end the blemishes would just remain blemishes, you know, and everyone would see them as a greater like nation of people. But like, how can you see past some of these things? You know what I mean? It's like you can't see past what Hitler did. I'm sure Hitler, like in company, you know, of his like friends or whatever, I'm sure he was perfectly fine and pleasant, you know, to have like a dinner with. But like all that other shit can never fucking, you know what I mean? Like shine through to that.
It's sort of like
it's irrelevant.
It's sort of like what America's trying to do, like with Manifest Destiny and the slavery era. Like, just take the books out of the library, and those blemishes will disappear.
I mean, yeah, it's fucked up, right? There's certain atrocities that, well, with America, we have no choice. We have to get past those atrocities because we live here.
Of course, we have to get past them.
But with Hitler, what I'm saying is, with Hitler, you can't get past those atrocities to have like a pleasant dinner with him. Like, fuck that.
Oh. Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's with the Israelites. Like, you can't get past what they do.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to hit number 22 or you want to save it for next time?
No, I don't want to do 22. Do you want to do 22?
I don't, because it's like a little confusing. There's a curse involved.
Yeah.
And it's really high comedy.
Yeah, let's save it for next time.
Yeah. All right.
You're done? You wanna just break out?
I don't know if you want to go to 22 though.
No, yeah. When we finished 21, I was like, yeah, 21. That seems about right. We're about an hour and a half or so into the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think Numbers, since they've moved away from Sinai, has definitely picked up a little more. Like, Yahweh's more involved in the action now. And whenever Yahweh's involved, he's the star. He's definitely he's the star of this book for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see how Jesus can live up to Yahweh's performance.
We shall see.
But maybe that's what they said about Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. You know, like Al Pacino and Godfather 1, and then Robert De Niro, people were like, I don't know how he's going to live up to Al Pacino's performance.
I like going to some older folks. They'll talk about, like, modern singers. And they're like, oh, you know, there's so much electronic and this, that, and the other thing. You know, back in the 50s, those people could sing. And I was like, sure, they could sing. But you can't compare, like, today's, like there's amazing talent out there.
Yes.
I mean, you might not like the music, but
yes.
as far as singing goes, I think singers, everyone's better than they were. And not because, just because techniques have changed and training has changed and people,
If Mozart and Beethoven were alive today, they'd be using synthesizers to make music. 100%. Yeah, the synthesizer is the future of music. It's always been the future of music. You know what I mean? It's just because you don't need anything. You can make a record on your own.
A record. They still call it records, right?
I think so.
All right. So we're signing off?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Peace.
All right. See you later, fuckers.